Hello. Hello.
Ajit ji, you can start.
Sir, I can start?
Yeah.
Okay. So, very good morning to all of you. Uh, I, Sri Ajit Bansal, Chairman Gwalior Branch of CIRC of ICI, on behalf of Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of ICI, welcome all the participants in today's webcast on adaptive thinking for chartered accountants, navigating uncertainty and changes. First of all, I would like to welcome our Central Council member, CA Dr. Anuj Goyal ji, Chairman, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI, and in absentia, CA Sri Priya Kumar, Vice Chairperson, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICI, and today's resource person, CA Nakul Arora ji, and the event enablers, my colleagues Rahul Mittal and Nidhi Agarwal ji from Gwalior branch of CIRC of ICI and other present over here. First of all, I would like to introduce our chairperson, CA Anuj Goyal ji. Give me some time. Anuj Goyal ji, Central Council member 2020-22-25 of the Institute of the Chartered Accountant of India, qualified FCA, FCS, FCMA, MCOM, LLB, PhD, DISA, DIRM. Besides, he is six-time Central Council member of ICI since 2004, Chairman Professional Skill Enrichment Committee ICI, Chairman Ethical Standard Board ICI, Convener Publication and CDS Directorate ICI, Vice Chairman Sustainability Reporting Standard Board, Vice Chairman, Taxable Audit Quality Review Board, and member of various non-standing committee of ICI. He is dynamic Central Council member who always with the prime objective to serve the member of ICI at large and always stand with and for the members of the ICI. He had earlier served as a chairman of the CIRC of ICI and in other position of CIRC of ICI and managing committee in the Ghaziabad branch of CIRC of ICI before joining the ICI Council. So now I would like to request to Rahul to please introduce our today's session speaker, CA Nakul Arora ji. Rahul, are you there? Hello.
Later on, he can introduce. Right now, we are handing over the session to CA Dr. Anuj Goyal for his deliberation towards our August gathering.
So now I would like to request to see Anuj Goyal ji to please deliberate your session, sir.
Thank you very much, Ajit Bansal ji, our Honorable Chairman of Gwalior branch, our event enabler, and we are having the presence of CA Nakul Arora ji, our dynamic young professional, popularly known as Yuva Turk, for being very, very active and supporting the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, our Professional Skill Management Committee, in a great way. Today, we are having very, very important session of Nakul Arora ji on very, very important topic, adaptive thinking for accountants, navigating uncertainty and change. We are having the presence of CA Rahul Mittal ji, our Honorable Secretary of Gwalior branch. We are having, of course, Dr. Sambit Kumar Misra ji, Founder Secretary of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee. And on my right, we are having the presence of CA Anand Jain, our Honorable immediate past Chairman of Indore branch, the cleanest city of the country. And on my left, we are having Mr. Chodia, our Honorable Dhan Kuber of Jabalpur branch. And we are having thousands of viewers from each and every part of the country and outside country. I welcome all of you on behalf of the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And friends, we are trying our level best to see that how we can really do something very, very concrete for the best of the accounting professionals of the world, members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, For the first time in the history of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Institute has come out with the Professional Skill Management Committee with a vision and mission that how we can enrich the skills of the best of the chartered accountants of the world. And Nakul Arora is going to take this very, very important topic. Friends, you must be very well aware that we have initiated daily yoga program. Yoga se hi hoga. This is the tagline, and I'm quite confident that each and everyone will certainly like to see that how we can be the yoga can be the part of our daily life from Monday to Friday, 7 to 8:75 a.m. We are live on the Zoom as well as YouTube. And for the Gulf countries, today we started the initiative for the overseas members, Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. So we are trying our level best to see that how we can really try to have the healthy chartered accountant, so that in turn we can have wealthy nation with the help of the healthy chartered accountants who are physically and mentally healthy. Friends, according to a recent survey, 63% of the financial leaders believe that adaptability is the most critical skill for success in the modern workplace. All the inputs have been given by Nakul Arora ji. So, and adaptive thinking is particularly critical for chartered accountants, managing client relationship, navigating complex regulatory landscapes, adopting new technologies, and optimizing financial processes. And improved decision making, enhanced problem solving skills, greater innovation, and the ability to manage ambiguity effectively. I think this is very, very important, and we are in the best resource persons here, Nakul Arora ji, to really guide us on this very, very important topic for all of us. May I request Anand ji to say a few words on this occasion, and then I will.
Really, this is a good initiative of the committee to have this kind of program which can improvise the skills of chartered accountants all over the nation, and all thanks to Anuj Goyal sir, who is taking all such pains to organize this kind of activities and bringing new concept in the ICI. So I thank him for giving me this opportunity, and I welcome all the delegates, especially the speaker Nakul Arora ji, to this program. And also we have the presence of Ajit Bansal ji, Rahul Mittal ji, and the founder secretary of this committee, Sambit ji. So I welcome all of you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, CA Anand Jain ji, our leader of the profession, past chairman of Indore branch. We are having CA Sukesh Thodia sir, our honorable Dhan Kuber of Jabalpur branch. May I request Sukesh sir for a few words, please.
Good morning, everyone. This is really a very good approach to have amongst our professional brothers, adaptive thinking for chartered accountants and navigating uncertainty and changes. As India is growing and soon we will become the third largest economy, which our Prime Minister has a vision. So we chartered accountants play a very great role in this. And through this adaptive approach, we can only achieve this target. So I wish each and every professional brothers all the very best for this kind of approach. And we have great leaders in the profession who are also the torch bearers. I wish each and every one of us very good luck for achieving what we plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sukesh ji, and thank you, Anand ji. Over to CA Ajit Bansal ji, our event enabler and chairman, a very, very prominent Gwalior branch of CIRC of IC.
Okay, thank you, sir. Nidhi ji, are you there?
Yes. Rahul ji, right now, Rahul ji has to introduce the speaker.
Hello.
Rahul ji, you are requested to introduce the speaker.
Hello. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Ajit sir. So now I will introduce our today's session speaker, CA Nakul Arora ji. He is an accomplished chartered accountant in the field of finance and professional development, and with a solid foundation in accounting, auditing, taxation, and financial management. Nakul ji has not only delivered technical sessions but also conducted more than 350 sessions on soft skills such as communication and leadership. As the founder and managing partner of a CA firm, Nakulji has showcased his leadership skills by spreading head various ICI conferences and debate groups. His speaking experience at prestigious events and with the renowned organizations like Barco, Hilton Group, and Saxo Banks further solidifies his reputation as a dynamic and impactful individual in the industry, whether it's about financial wellness, wealth management, or compliance with the technical and professional standards. Nakul Arura's expertise and passion for excellence shines through in every aspect of his work. So, with these words, now I hand over this mic to our speaker, C. Nakul Arora ji.
Thank you very much, C.A. Rahul Mittalji. It is my honor to be a part of such an august gathering and such an important session. I am thankful to the enabler, C. Ajit Bansal, the secretary, Dr. Sambit Mishra ji, and of course, C.A. Sachin Gupta ji. Now that I am about to begin my session, because the topic is the one which can actually help us in this way, I would like to talk about the chairman of the board to begin with his permission, if he allows me to. And because when I thought about adaptive thinking, I was thinking about the chairman. We were recently asked a question that why is India not producing big accounting firms like the world? Well, actually, our chairman has thought it years ago. And of course, his initiative to create a professional skills enrichment committee, we remember we are always having discussions that how can we be internationally competitive? How can Indian firms and Indian chartered accountants, not just that we are competitive, we need to show it to the world that we are competitive enough. So to talk about adaptive thinking for accounting business. Now, accounting is not any common business. It's a very serious business, especially the certification and the different legal compliances, maybe taxation laws, corporate laws, and other laws that we practice with. It is an adaptive market, so it is important that we have thinking which adapts to the change very critically and at different intervals. Now, thinking about the beginning of this year, we had this professional skills enrichment committee being incorporated. We as chartered accountants were accustomed to take technical sessions on law, on standards, on accounting. And then we had to adapt to the situation that it is important that we deliberate that how our soft skills have to be mastered. So a very huge round of applause for the chairman of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee who has came up with the idea and who has helped us and who is constantly supporting us to create such sessions. And of course, his mentorship is always there with us. Moving on, let's first learn why are you all here? Because it's important that I tell you that why are you spending this time? And I promise you the next 2 hours are going to be the best 2 hours you've spent at least in the recent past. Because today we will understand adaptive thinking. We'll embrace ambiguity. Like we don't know what is about to happen. Suddenly things are happening which we never expected. And how do we not get scared with it, but we embrace it? Very similar to the way our Prime Minister says, Aapada mein avsar. That means finding opportunity in the biggest threat. So we need to embrace ambiguity. Then we'll talk about innovation and creativity, that how innovation is born and how creativity is used. We will be talking about continuous learning. And I am sorry to say, when we are saying good things, we should also mention bad things, that the only professionals who struggle are the ones who forget to continuously learn and update. Because many chartered accountants between us have qualified even before the introduction of the computer. And today, if they have not continuously learned, just imagine how difficult it is for them to practice in today's world. Then we'll talk about flexibility in communication. Not just flexibility in learning and performance, but in communication as well, you should be flexible. And of course, we'll integrate your adaptive thinking into practice. Let us begin with the understanding of adaptive thinking. This is a cognitive skill. That means it's a skill of the mind to adjust your thoughts, that what you're thinking, along with, just a second, along with your approach, that how you approach a particular scenario and situation, and your actions afterwards. First, you'll think like that, then you'll approach the problem, because that is how solutions will be created. And then, of course, your actions should be in response to new information. Now, understand, when we are talking about adaptive thinking, Do not think we are solving new problems right now. We were solving a problem. For example, you have been serving a client or you are on a single job for, let's say, 3 years. Till 2 years, you worked really well. And in the third year, suddenly, a legal change comes in. A legal change arrives in the third year. Or maybe some circumstances have changed. You're an auditor of the company, but suddenly you turn out to be an investor of the company later on. Or maybe you were an investor. Or maybe your related party is an investor. How to respond, how to first start thinking in context of the changed circumstances. Then how to re-identify your approach, that how will you approach this scenario now? Then you act accordingly, and then you are able to resolve any unexpected challenges. These are the 3 skills that will help you master the adaptive thinking. There are 3 approaches. First approach is flexibility. You cannot be rigid and imagine to, be at the top of your game. It is impossible, honestly. Because rigidity is the absolute enemy of solutions. There will be new information, there will be new circumstances every now and then. How will we approach them? We will approach them with flexibility. For example, our perspective was very clear that we knew that what we are going into, for example, we'll take an example of an audit because it's one of the most important functions of a chartered accountant. We started conducting an audit in the nature of a plain assurance assignment. Audit is not in the nature of investigation to begin with. But have you heard about substantive procedures? In audit, there are 2 kinds of procedures, primary and then substantive. So do we or do we not learn that at the moment new perspectives and new information comes to picture, we have procedures to substantiate that change. And that is shifting our perspective. In response to all the new information that we will have, we will change our perspective and approach the problem. And then we alter strategies. Now let us imagine that you begin thinking about, I will be an ace or an apex predator or an apex practitioner of excise law. Maybe you thought it 10 years ago. And you completed your chartered accountancy, you started working, and you realized that, okay, only excise is no longer an option. Indirect tax is an option, but only excise is not. And you, for some reasons, did not want to entertain or enter into the world of goods and commodities in trade and services in play. So maybe you wanted to alter your strategy and go into hardcore, maybe representation services, maybe hardcore presentation services, or the hardcore entry and exit services. So moving on, the second the second approach is creativity. What is creativity? Finding new solutions and ideas. In terms of creativity, you have to write down and narrow down new solutions. Look, there are new problems, new circumstances every now and then. How do we approach is, we have to find solutions to new problems. I'm not saying solutions, you have solutions to the problem, but you have to find new solutions. Secondly, there might be ideas that you've been working upon, but suddenly you need to approach with new ideas. Like ideas on how to, approach a situation. All right. So this is creativity. And then the third strategy is resilience. Resilience means that if there is any problem, you will recover quickly out of that. And you have to maintain a positive outlook. You cannot be negative and try to, adapt to different changes that are coming in. All right. I hope we're clear by then that resilience is like the key. I will just share an example, not just an example, but this is life for us as chartered accountants. We all have been CA students someday. What was the approach to, write the final exams. Not the ones who cleared in the first attempt, kudos to you, but the ones who had to go through multiple attempts, even if it was 2. You have just 3 months to get back. So you cannot recover in a month, 2 months, because of course you have to, go into another exam very soon. And people who've been bittering about the situation, bittering about the case, will never be able to solve that problem. You have to change your outlook to a positive one. So recover quickly, maintain a positive outlook, and this is the only way. I'm not saying this is one of the ways. This is the only way you can approach adaptive thinking. So please make a note. If you're listening to a session, it's not just for CPR, it's for your personal benefit. If you really want to have benefit of today's session, write these 3 things: flexibility, creativity, resilience. And just like a prayer, say it in the morning every day: flexibility, creativity, resilience. And I promise you that you'll certainly, maybe you don't develop it in the first week or the month, but at least you would have the idea, you would have the solution for the day you need it. You do not memorize things for every day. You memorize it for the day it will be in need, and you will have the solutions readily in hand. So this is one way of approaching, right? So this is called adaptive thinking, right? To address adjusting your thoughts, approaches, and actions. And this is exactly how I really hope that most of us are able to, are able to overcome the problems that we have. All right. So this is it. Now I'm just trying to, give you an example of adaptive thinking and how actually it was, taken in place. I'm not going to, whenever I give an example, please don't think the example is positive or negative. Look, when IFRS was introduced, companies had to adapt reporting practices. Accountants had to demonstrate adaptive thinking strategies in devising clear transition plans and educating their teams of new compliance requirement. They might also leverage software tools. They can be software tools. So I said new solutions, new ideas, and they have to automatically adjust these standards to streamline the transition. The transition is an important period. Now, maybe a firm adopts blockchain technology. We had blockchain technology recently introduced. And how can firms adopt blockchain technology for transaction verification, which will increase, of course, transparency, it will reduce their processing times. Adaptive thinking has to be shown proactively integrating the technology into the existing systems. You have to train your staff on the new process. And of course, you have to iterate solutions as challenges arise during the implementation. Now, let's talk about crisis management situations. In 2007, 2008, there was an economic downturn. Even today, we are having some sort of firing going on. I think it's been 124,000 employees have been released worldwide in the last and since the beginning of this year, 2024. Companies do face liquidity issues. Financial leaders actually use adaptive thinking by implementing dynamic cash flow forecasting. In the FP&A department, the financial planning and analysis, they actually, implement dynamic cash flows in forecasting. They explore alternative financing options, like how in the other ways you can finance, because when there's an economic downturn, of course, the cash position is not just a problem for you. It is the problem of the economy at that time. And now you try to negotiate better terms with your financiers, with your suppliers, customers. Like you try to say customers to pay in advance, pay more, pay early. And for the suppliers, you try to negotiate as long time as much as possible. And this is exactly how you're able to maintain cash reserves, and you ensure business continuity. Now, the market conditions can be volatile. I don't know how many of you follow the American short seller, But the American short seller who brought a very crucial situation, January 24th, has recently, or maybe just today, has come up with a tweet which says that some big news is coming, and he wrote India's name into it. So, as an investment manager, you have to observe the volatility. You have to reassess the asset locations, and where to allocate what asset. And you have to obviously use advanced analytical scenario for the modeling, and you have to stay agile in adjusting the investment strategy to mitigate risks while seizing emerging opportunities. I am for sure that all the people who are doing good with their business, I think 60 to 70% of you will be good with these strategy changes. The problem is that if any one of you is facing a problem and you find out, okay, there is where I could have critically thought, there is where my thinking would have adapted. If there has ever been a resistance to change in your life, this is the particular skill that you've been missing. And trust me, this was very less explored, though I had to come today and I had to come and explore the skill with you. Maybe a company is suffering with increased operational cost. Now, please don't think that, okay, I'm not running a company. Why do I think about it? No, I'm telling you that you are a financial planner. You are the company's consultant. You have to, think about companies as your own. So, example, your client is, encountering an increased operational cost. You can actually implement cost-effective methods with the help of adaptive thinking. You can, renegotiate vendor contracts. You can adopt energy efficient practices. This will also in turn generate carbon credits for you. So you can utilize technology to automate the manual process. Manual process being automated, I think you will be able to get better results out of your own dealings. You can reduce overheads and improve profitability as well. So honestly, what I'm trying to establish here is that in many ways, adaptive thinking is the done deal. This is the done skill that you need to have. Moving on. This is the most crucial part. I'm not asking you to adapt and adjust. I'm asking you to embrace ambiguity. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm asking you to embrace, hug it out, just accept and be happy about ambiguity. So when I talk about embracing ambiguity, I want to take pauses so you can think that why am I asking you to embrace? First, let's understand ambiguity. For me to explain ambiguity to you, I'm really talking to you like I'm sitting in a room and you guys are sitting in front of me. So you also please listen to me like it's a very casual way of explaining things. It's no point in, trying to take a leverage session in through a virtual mode when we cannot interact. So let's try and accept it as a one-to-one conversation. You're sitting with me in the room and we're trying to talk about it. Okay. In the modern business landscape, ambiguity is everywhere. Rapidly, regulations are changing. There are unpredictable economic climates. There are technological advances that can be both revolutionary and disruptive. So when Reliance Industries fired to 42,000 people, I think 42 or maybe less, I'm not sure, 42 or 14. Yesterday, there was news in the market that approximately, I think 10% or maybe some more workforce has been fired by the company. So while you think that this is due to any reasons, the newspaper mentioned that it is because of AI. Many tech companies are firing because of AI. So technologies, same technology. I'm not saying there are two different technologies. Same technology can be both revolutionary and disruptive. These factors contribute to an environment where the old certainty of numbers and regulations is replaced by complex scenarios demanding our swift interpretation and a response. Now, why am I asking you to embrace this? This is chaos. And people will say that This is extremely disruptive. This is extremely painful. Why are you asking me to embrace it? Well, I'm not a gym trainer who's going to say no pain, no gain, but I am somebody who's trying to tell you how to adapt and how to think in different changing scenarios, how to be very accepting of change and not disruptive of it, not dismissive of change. Why should we embrace ambiguity when our profession is grounded in certainty? Yes, chartered accountant's profession is grounded in certainty. We say that we give reasonable assurance on the true and fair view. We talk about certainty, that how certain you can be after we have signed the document, and yet we say to embrace ambiguity. The answer lies in the opportunity ambiguity presents. The opportunity is not in certainty, the opportunities lie in ambiguity. When we embrace this uncertainty, we open ourselves to innovation and creativity. We'll talk about that in a slide very soon, that there will be opportunity of innovation, creativity. We will become, adaptive people are leaders who will guide the organizations, and not just our organization, the clients, the organization we're working for, the organizations around us. We'll guide them, through this uncertain times, and we'll take them beyond chaos. And this is exactly how you embrace ambiguity, and you're able to establish yourself as a good consultant, your firm as a good firm, yourself as a eligible practicing professional, and also an employee, by the way. Strategies to embrace ambiguity. Let's talk about strategies that can be there. And now again, your pen should be out. I'm telling you to make notes wherever it is important. So there are some strategies. Firstly, cultivating a growth mindset. Like a farmer cultivates a good crop, you have to cultivate a growth mindset. So next time, not just in your situation, in other situation as well, you try to find opportunities in the situation of challenges to learn rather than obstacles. There are obstacles, there's an opportunity to learn there. You embrace the opportunity, learn, and get out of the scene. It can involve scenario planning, right? Or you can use data analytics to guide strategic decisions and anticipate possible outcomes. You could try and anticipate possible outcomes. Right? Oh my God, suddenly there's so much light. Just a moment. I'm just going to turn the camera on and off because I think there is a lot of light on me suddenly. Yep. All right. Now we've written the first strategy, which is cultivating a growth mindset. Now let's talk about the second strategy, which is enhanced decision-making skills. You have to enhance your decision-making skills. You have to develop a framework that allow for making informed decisions, even when the information is incomplete. So I would just tell you the example. When we were in standard 11, when we were in standard 12, we were in school, there was a chapter we used to study. I'm not sure how many of you have studied that chapter, accounting for incomplete records. I'm not sure how many of you remember it. If some of you remember it, please drop it in the chat box or the Q&A that you've remembered that there was a particular chapter called accounting from incomplete records. So I'm saying that even when the information is incomplete, you have to develop frameworks that can help you take decisions. I always am a big advocate of saying that take more and more information and take informed decisions. I am the person who says there is no right or wrong decision. There are less and more informed decisions. That's all. Right? So this might involve a scenario planning or using data analytics to guide strategic decisions and anticipate possible outcomes. The anticipation is enhanced and the decision-making has to be taken care of. Just give me 1 second. Very much. So then we have to talk about the third strategy. Two have been written. I'm speaking again because I'm not able to see anybody, so I'm not able to see how many of you are writing, but whosoever is, so I have to repeat for them. First strategy was cultivating a growth mindset. Second strategy was enhance decision-making skills. And now the third strategy is foster communication and collaboration. It is not just an important part for the adaptive thinking session today. Collaboration has become inevitable for accounting practice. I think many of you will agree with that. So open, effective communication is crucial by adding, not just adding, but you build a network. I mean, not adding to your network, you build a network that should encourage how many things? That should encourage sharing the perspectives, not just sharing a firm name for getting best and best government audit opportunities. No, you have to have a group where you share diverse perspectives and insights. You don't only spot potential issues, but also discover innovative solutions. So focus should be on the solutions and not just issues. I remember a movie that I was seeing. It's not a very popular movie. The villain in the movie actually says, "Don't tell me the problem, tell me the solution." And actually, it is easy to tell and spot the problem. The difficult part is to identify and mark the solution. So 3 strategies are done. Cultivating a growth mindset is done. Enhanced decision making is done. Fostering communication and collaboration is done. And now the last strategy is focus on strategic agility. Agility is an important aspect. It's not the agile form you fill for making a company, Spice plus agile. No, this is agility, the skill of agility of a cheetah or a leopard maybe. You have to focus not just on physical agility, actually not on physical agility, but strategic agility, not just thinking. Make strategies. Your strategy should be agile. Be ready to pivot the strategy as necessary. Your strategy should have the opportunity to take a U-curve, hairpin, or maybe a left or a right. This requires not just preparation, but the nimbleness to change the course when it becomes clear that the new path will yield better results. I know most of you use Google Maps. What do they say? A new route with less time is available. A quicker route is available. If you click, you'll accept. If you don't click or you don't deny for a certain time, it will change you to the course. So why do we use Google Maps on long routes? Many people know here that we use Google Maps on long routes, whereas we know that we have to take a certain route and this is the direction that we have to go to. For example, if I am driving from the northern part of the country to the western part of the country, like say from Delhi to Mumbai, there's a single highway that I have to take, but I'll still turn on the maps because it has the strategic agility that will reroute me if there is any sort of traffic, construction, maintenance, where I can be, saving time. This is the kind of strategic agility we need in our own personal business life too. Now, imagine a scenario where a new tax regulation is suddenly introduced. There's a new regulation which has been introduced, and there have been so many new regulations that have been introduced in the past 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, maybe. Now, people, most of them view it as a hurdle. Oh my God, this is difficult. So many people were viewing 43BH, the section which says if you do not make a payment of an MSME in 15 days, you disallowed that. And all the professionals were seeing it as a hurdle. Oh my God, how are you going to check it? How are the business going to be surviving after that? But instead, somebody has to view it as an opportunity to become an indispensable advisor to your client. Can you or cannot you talk about the invoicing strategy? Many of them advised clients, had arbitration meetings between the supplier and the buyer, and they had good amount of money made out of this. And once 43BH was cleared, they said, oh, you are worried about your disallowance. I am going to tell you how to recover this money. And many CAs practiced in recovering through MSMEs. So that recovery actually helped us making more money instead of being worried about the money which our client is losing. When we focused on the opportunity, we were able to make good amount of money for ourselves. We were able to grow our practices. So you have to use your knowledge to provide strategic guidance that not only ensures compliance but also aligns with your client's broader financial goals. Long-term goals have to be focused. This is where the ability to embrace ambiguity transforms you from an accountant to a strategic partner. So, embracing ambiguity is not about relinquishing control. Please be clear of that. I'm not saying you lose control. I'm not saying you relinquish any amount of control. I'm just saying that it is about recognizing resilience as a part of our professional toolkit. Resilience is a part of your profession, your professional skills. It is a part. As the world continues to evolve, those who are able to maintain calm amidst uncertainty and transform challenges into new opportunities will lead the way. That is a fact. It's not a choice. It's not a thought. That is a fact. Let's commit to not just surviving amidst uncertainty. We don't survive. You have to thrive, and by embedding adaptive thinking to the fabric of our professional lives, we can be the architects of stability in unsettled time for our clients, organization, and our institution, and our country too. If you see on a broader perspective, embracing ambiguity has to be one of the most crucial skills that one must have to focus on. And in between that, we have come to the most fun topic, the most fun part of the entire session for CAs, for everybody: innovation and creativity is the done skill. So when I'm saying in innovation and creativity, you can see role of innovation, then encourage the creative solving, financial solutions. Let's not talk about it like that. Again, I said, let's talk about like we're sitting in a room. All right. So as chartered accountants, we're perceived as methodical. And the word is methodical. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I will ask you to send me voice notes on LinkedIn and tell me that how it is pronounced correctly. Methodical, I don't know. So as chartered accountants, we are perceived as methodical and detail-oriented. We are those people. People think that they're all about formats. They're all about, how to actually, they talk about law, regulations, ethics, principles. And we have traits that are, these traits to us being methodical and of course detail oriented are skills that are of course crucial to our practice, not just practice, to our profession. These 2 or 3 traits are important, but this is a rapidly evolving financial landscape. Have you seen the condition of the Nifty 50, Bank Nifty, whatever? They're going like this. Suddenly a few days ago, gold fell down 5,000. Unexpected, nobody was able to digest. But this is the truth. We are in rapidly evolving landscape. So these skills must be complemented by creativity and innovation. If we are able to remain relevant and add strategic value, if chartered accountants have to remain relevant and maintain and also add strategic value to business, it's our responsibility to make a brighter future for our coming generation of chartered accountants. Forget about your kids and your family, your distant, maybe nephews and nieces. Think about future chartered accountants and students as your family, and you'll realize to keep ourselves relevant, and we have to be perceived as additive of strategic value. To be important, we today have to lay that foundation. Our ancestors have laid the foundation we're enjoying today. We're not the biggest accounting body in the world because Suddenly one day the world woke up and said, okay, let India make the world's biggest accounting body. No. We as chartered accountants should be grateful to the leaders, to our seniors who have laid the foundation. What is our duty in this immensely volatile financial landscape? We have to be, of course, creative and innovative to stay relevant and add strategic value. So firstly, innovative and creativity are not just for tech companies. This is the worst way of thinking. Innovation and creativity is for tech companies, fintech, maybe this tech, that tech. No. These are essential for finance too. Even in movies, they have to be innovative nowadays. Even in arts, they have to be innovative. What about finance? The world's biggest challenge often comes with the need to innovate financial solutions. Finance has been at the backbone of the entire world's, not just the economy, but the running of the world. So whenever there's a challenge in the world, even if it was COVID-19, even if it was the pandemic, landslides, tsunami, whatever, there was a crucial time for the financial innovation. We had to be innovative. The world of finance worked relentlessly at the times of coronavirus, at the times of COVID-19. I'm really the person who doesn't have to explain how many of you are still waiting for the amount of remuneration that was supposed to be paid during the coronavirus. Why? Because that is the time you've delivered penultimate services. That's for some other day, that how you should always be, at the top of the game when charging for your services. But you have to definitely be sure that our profession is relevant at every level, even at the situation of need, even at the situation of volatility. And every challenge has a financial aspect. Even death has a financial aspect. What is term life insurance? What is life insurance? Because death has a financial implication. And people cover that at the age of 20, 25, 30, 35 max. Everybody wants to have an insurance. Why? Because the financial aspect is at the key of anything. Even a person dying, people never talk about what emotional impacts they've had. Some of them do. Most of them talk about financial impacts. Why? Because finance is the backbone of the entire system that is running around us. Moving on, whether it is leveraging new technologies, adapting any regulatory shift, or even redefining client relationships, creativity is our new mandate. I'm telling you, redefine client relationships. Yes, this is a mandate. How to redefine them? We live in a country where human life sometimes loses value. What about human efforts? Even the current scenario, human efforts are not able to fetch, and people are not able to value the effort that has been put in. The circumstance is an advocate of advance fees. The circumstance is an advocate of rigidity in terms of collection on part of CS. Why? Because this is the redefinition of the client relationships. 50 years ago, maybe the clients used to respect the participation of the professional. I'm not saying only chartered accountants are suffering, all the professionals, architects, doctors, engineers, everybody has to really justify it a million times that we have put in a human effort. If people don't value it, we have to start valuing it. If somebody cannot pay, they cannot receive the services. This is the redefinition. This is the new mandate, innovation, creativity. Why? Many might be wondering in the audience, why prioritize innovation and creativity in accounting? Accounting is a simple service, simple art, simple skill. The answer lies in expanding the role of accountants as key business advisors. You have to approach problems creatively. You have to uncover new opportunities, improve efficiency, and offer comprehensive solutions that go beyond traditional number crunching. We're not number crunchers anymore. We have to be strategically advisor. We have to be strategically in the business. What strategies foster innovation and creativity? What strategies go for it? Okay, again, time to pull out your pens. I'm sorry I have to make you write on every other topic, but it's important. At least these are your notes which will help you remember what you've learned today. Strategic thinking will not come in the day one. So forget about creative thinking, or this is actually adaptive thinking, and one of the most difficult skills in terms of thinking. First, create a culture of curiosity. I'm not saying in yourself. When you're in your office, there are articles there. There is your staff. Create a culture that they stay curious. Curious minds seek to understand why things are done a certain way and how they might be improved. I read a quote somewhere, I believe it was from Albert Einstein, but I'm not sure it was Albert Einstein who said that genius is someone who is extremely curious, or maybe some other words. So curiosity is the key to be a genius. So foster an environment where questioning is the status quo, is welcomed and respected. I don't know how many of you, but many of us practice Hinduism. We have, the text that we refer to as the most prestigious and auspicious text from the highest valleys, from the highest mountain peaks to the lowest offshores. We have made sure that the text we refer is Bhagavad Gita. And what is it? Curiosity, questions and questions. 90 minutes of questioning by Arjun. This is a culture of curiosity. Even the people, even if you're not ready to accept somebody as a god or as a demigod, why don't you accept it as one of the most wise people of their time? And their wisdom was extremely appreciated because they're ready to answer questions. He's not just himself curious. He is fostering a culture of curiosity in his team. In his, first of all, his crown prince himself, he's asking him to, ask questions, try and, ask many questions you want to, but your mindset has to be clear. So a culture of curiosity is being created and fostered. This is exactly what you have to create on your team. First, create a culture of curiosity. Then integrate technology, but do it smartly. AI, machine learning, you have to adapt, have to adopt them as well and adapt to them as well. You have to use them to automate your repetitive tasks, analyzing your data sets, and extract insights that a human might overlook. This is the way you have to think. Instead of thinking like how much cost it is saving for the cost it is creating, why don't we think like what information the AI would not miss, but a human might miss? So large data sets are often, it's better that we leave it to AI, we leave it to machines to analyze large data sets. Am I right? All right. And of course, you can use them to extract insights that a human might overlook, but technology should be used with creativity. When creativity is applied, it can free up time. What we have to use that time for is important. That time has to be used for strategic thinking and innovation. And let's move to the third strategy. I hope you're able to understand and able to make notes out of it. And I hope things are really things will come into perspective for you soon. The third thing is you have to embrace diverse perspectives. Forget about me being a faculty and able to, communicate with you and able to tell you what's what. How about we embrace diverse perspectives? I'll take an example of the Amazon, not the Amazon River, not the Amazon jungle, but the Amazon, the company. I heard a strategy they follow. In their conferences or meetings, the junior most gets to speak first, and the hierarchy goes from junior to senior. Why? because they understood that when a senior has given a perspective, the junior is most likely to not disagree with it. So, how will we ever get perspectives of people not sitting on the executive positions? The only way to do that is by letting the younger speak first. And this is how we embrace diverse perspectives. So collaboration often leads to creative breakthroughs. Value the diversity of thoughts and backgrounds within your organization, not just thought. Every individual, every person in your company, even if you're in job or practice, they're coming for diverse perspectives. Value their diversity. And when team members with varied experiences and skills have come together, they will always bring new ideas and solutions to the table. So you have to trust the variation. So what kind of a culture am I asking you to create? Have a little focus on the screen. For example, this is a round table. You're here at the lead. All the people here who sit in your organization must have an opportunity to first put in their perspective. And of course, you must support, collaborate, and encourage their participation. And this is exactly how a good innovation and creativity can be fostered in your organization. And you have to also encourage experimentation. So if maybe younger minds that join your organization want to do, they have new ideas, they are coming up with new and new ideas every now and then, you must encourage them. You must encourage them and not dismiss their ideas. All right. I hope you are able to get up until here. There are 4 strategies of this slide. Please, if you've written them, revise. And if you've not written them, please rewrite and make sure you've made notes of this slide. How to foster innovation and creativity? First, create a culture of curiosity. Second, integrate technology smartly. Third, embrace diverse perspectives. And fourth, encourage experimentation. So this is exactly how you have to foster a culture of innovation and creativity. Now I come up to one of the most important topics of today's session. I'm sorry, you might be feeling that almost on every slide I'm saying it is important, but I know I'm really very attached to this topic. I feel very strongly about this. So I would say that every part of this is important for me. You might choose to tell me in anywhere on the social media platform what was your favorite part of the session, or what do you think is the most crucial. Let's not say favorites. We can say what is most crucial and what we need to focus more on. And that is exactly how more on sounds like more on. I'm so sorry. And flexibility in communication. Let's talk about that, and let's understand and shed some lights on flexibility in communication and adaptive in communication styles. I always take a pause before we start. Why? Because I want you to put your thinking hats on and think about it first. And then I talk about it. I will discuss this critical skill that will enhance your effectiveness. I promise it will enhance your effectiveness like a boss. And of course, your reach will be increased. Your reach, not just to people, but how close you get to people. This will be expanded like a balloon. Flexibility in communication in this era of defined, which is actually this era is of changes. If we had to pick a god of this time, it would have been change. We have digital transformation, we have financial thinking change, we also got the enhanced communication along the borders. So now how we communicate is just as important as the expertise we offer. The way we communicate is equivalent to the expertise that we offer. How is communication relevant to accounting? I am so glad you asked. I hope you are asking these questions. So traditionally, accounting has been viewed as a number-driven profession. So you're all about numbers, you're thinking about technical skills, technical numbers. However, our roles evolved into strategic advisory positions. Effective communication becomes essential. Today, we are not number driven. We are also strategic advisors of business. While we are listening clients, we're listening with the clients, collaborating with our colleagues, we're presenting to the stakeholders. Our ability to convey complex information clearly and adaptively is the key for our success. But you will still think, why does the flexibility come in place? Why these communication skills are okay, but why flexibility in this communication matters? The answer lies in the diverse nature of our stakeholders. Okay, let's diversify our audience, the different audience, right? First audience set. What is the first audience set? I'm going to try and make really good symbols here. So, firstly, we have a big client. What did I make? I made money. Big client gives us big money. So, first, our big client. It looks like a radio, but this is money. Imagine this is money. This is my money. And you're not ready to accept it. It's okay. Moving on. We can also talk about not just a big client. We can talk about, let's say, a regulatory body. I'm going to make a regulatory body, like I'm going to write R here, and let's imagine this is a regulatory body. All right. This is the client. This is the regulatory body. All right. I'm sorry, I try to be an artist at these times. I want to enjoy as much as I can. I hope you guys are enjoying too. Or this could be a poor team member, maybe junior or senior to us. And in between all of that is our fellow chartered accountant. So these all have different needs. Your client is looking for different things. Two clients might not be looking for the same things. When people come for tax audits and when they come for financial audits, their perspective is different. In financial audit, people want to maximize what they have earned. They want to see the maximum results and the stakeholders can see. But when it comes to taxation, they want to see the minimum profit that they can, manage. So the outlook and the perspective is different. So when we are talking about a client, we have to see what perspective he's coming to us for. If it's a regulatory body, they definitely want to see and tape any unaccounted or unattended to problem. When it is a team member, they're looking for maybe learning, or maybe they're looking for just more pay. That's it, right? So the expectation and level of understanding is also different. A client understands business well, but maybe he does not understand the legal compliances and the legal framework too well. The regulatory body understands the framework very well, but they might not understand the needs of the business the way the businessman does. And a team member may understand that it is important for him to make more money, but he does not understand how much the firm that he's working for is, how much debt and how much interest it is paying. Or maybe if he says he wants to learn, but what about if the firm thinks that he is not even capable of performing the tasks already assigned to him? Therein, flexibility allows us to tailor our communication to ensure clarity, engagement, and impact. And again, let's pull out our pen. Let's write down the strategies to enhance communication flexibility. Whatever I'm training to you on, whatever I'm trying to tell you, I promise I'll give you a strategy for doing that. I'm not going to say anything without giving you a strategy for it. So first strategy is understand your audience. Always start by assessing who you are communicating with. For an example, today morning, when I had to talk to you guys, this is not the only place that I'm going to give this session to. I'm not just going to talk to chartered accountants. You must have viewed in the slides that they're very generic. But when I'm talking to you, I'm talking specifically for chartered accountants. What if I'm giving this session in corporate? What if I'm giving this session to a regulatory authority, for the employees of the regulatory authority? My communication changes with the audience. So first, always start by assessing who you are communicating with. Adapt the depth of your message, the deep sides of your message based on their familiarity with the subject matter. So if I'm talking in a TTT program, train the trainer program, I'm training this concept. Many of these concepts will go deeper. We'll take deeper dives into the concept. Why? Because we know that the soft skills trainers already understand critical thinking. They already understand, strategic thinking. They are learning a part of thinking. So I can really talk on the bay with them. For instance, when discussing financial reports with our client, the focus has to be on the implication of the information rather than the technicalities. Unless they ask for details, we don't go into technicalities. They just want to know what are the implications. So maybe you say the debt to equity ratio is high. Your debt is 2.1 times of your equity. They're not looking for details. You have to tell them this will actually render your going concern assumption as a moot. And even then, this is not relevant to them. You have to tell them that your investors will ask for their money back and the banks will stop lending to you in the first place. And you'll have technical and commercial issues. This is what they want to know as your clients. But when your team member is talking, we try to explain the implications. They're not looking for implications. They are looking for the technicalities because they have to build their careers on them. First strategy is clear, understand your audience. Second, active listening. Active listening, active listening, active listening. I've written a book on active listening for the PSEC. Why? Because I know this skill is crucial. You understand your audience is one thing. This is your perspective now. Now let's listen. Listening actively will make sure that there's a two-way communication. You understand them better. Being receptive to questions and open to feedback. This will not only, this will not only help you to tailor your message precisely, but this will build trust and rapport. Between you and the person in the conversation, there'll be trust and there'll be a good rapport with that person because you listen. People who don't listen to you sometimes are not trustable. What's wrong? Why do people in our country have a problem with trusting the government authorities or the government employees? Why? Because the problem is that they do not have a problem with their working all the time. They have a problem that they're not listening patiently. They're not listening to them. They're not allowing them to speak. Right? Now let's talk about the third strategy. You have to adapt the communication style. You have to be versatile with your communication methods. You cannot be rigid. Use visual aids. You can use charts, graphs, PowerPoints. Visual learners, you can have illustrative points for visual learners. For direct interactions such as meetings and interviews, you can use the visual aid. Some people say in interview, we cannot use visual aid. Why? Who says no? Somebody says, show us your best work. Don't just start talking about it. Show them a piece of paper. You have to match the tone and the body language also to be more relatable and effective, but don't sound mocking. So when, because I come from Punjab, if you try speaking in Punjabi, it's your tone and accent which will tell me that do you sound communicative, you sound encouraging, or you sound as disturbing, right? Give me 1 second. I have to just, there's some network issue, I think, on my end. Just a moment. It's better now? All right. So I said adapt to the communication style. Try to match the tone, rate of speech. You'll of course become more relatable and effective, but you have to be, and this is the fourth strategy, by the way, you can write 4 strategies are done. The fourth strategy is be mindful of cultural differences. in this globalized economy, understanding the respect of cultural nuances in communication can prevent misunderstanding and foster stronger relationships. Right? Because I'll tell you there's a different approach to this, and please understand and respect what I'm about to tell you. That the entire world is a global market, true. But there is a few things that is a cultural appropriate, which is culturally appropriate for one country and not for the other. For one person and the other, the thing can be different. So I'm going to give you an example. Just listen to it as a story. So there was a bombing in one of the nations, and a refugee family was taken in by a let's say by a American woman, all right, and that woman was of course giving them food, shelter, food, and of course anything else. She was thinking that she is a very appropriate person and she's doing a service. So the person who was at their home asked them one day that do people eat a lot of pork here? A lot of pepperoni is eaten in your area. They said if they like it, they eat it. Because they were not ready to listen. After 5 or 6 times, when they left, she was told by another person that that was a family who religiously could not eat pork. All right, the pigs were not ethical to eat in the religion, but still they couldn't say no, and she couldn't understand because she was thinking she's doing a great job. Some things can be culturally appropriate for you, but not for somebody else. And the same problem comes in when you think you are culturally superior. Today's problem is not with the people who are, who are actually doing things not appropriate for the others. It's the person who thinks it's not appropriate for me, so you also don't do it. Maybe in your religion or your morals, vegetarianism or veganism is good, but it might not be good for all of them. And you cannot force the world to behave like you behave. So please be mindful of cultural differences, not just in the economy, in the world. India itself is very diverse. Be respectful of each other and do not build any superiority complex. Many people grow up in a certain culture and they think that they are superior to people who do these things, and because they don't do those things, they are superior to them. No. This is just a marketing gimmick which has been run by cults or maybe cultural figures, influences of their time. Now, to consider a scenario where you're explaining a complex regulatory change to both a finance team and the board of directors. So, complex regulatory change, you're explaining it to a finance team and the board of directors. Now, let's understand the flexibility to toggle between detailed technical jargon and high-level impacts for the board can significantly affect how the message is received and acted upon. Flexibility in communication is not simply about choosing the right words. It's about engaging with your audience and empathy and understanding, and this skill will elevate our professional influence and maximize the value that we provide to the stakeholders. As chartered accountants, we have to commit to this skill. So, we have to ensure that our messages are not just being heard, but they are being truly understood. This is the flexibility in communication so far. And I hope that you've been able to understand until here, because we come into the last topic after this slide, of course. After this slide, we have to take the last topic, which is this is integrating adaptive thinking into practice. And then we'll be talking about the benefits, of course. Yeah. So, let's talk about this a little. We can see, of course, how to integrate that into practice. We've learned about adaptive thinking. I'm sure most of you understand what is adaptive thinking so far. And now let's understand how to practically apply this. Learning is one thing. Now let's adapt. Now let's put it into practice. So in the era which is categorized by rapid change, I'm again coming in, there's a lot of change in the world around us. The ability to adapt and thrive has never been more crucial than it is today. So what we have to do is let's integrate this thinking into our continuous daily practice. Now, of course, the strategy is very similar to something which we've discussed in detail earlier, but of course, it will be additional here. And the way I'm going to talk now is a summary of the entire session. And you have to please write it down, make notes. I am really grateful that you've listened till here, whosoever has. But if you don't have notes of the session, I think it will not be that beneficial that you will have because of notes. Firstly, having a growth mindset. You know, what am I trying to say here is, please change the perspective that we've taken throughout the whole session. Please have a belief that skills and abilities can be developed. Leaders are not born. This is a skill which has to be learned. Why do we say people are born good? People are born good at something. This can be created. These abilities can be developed with hard work, dedication. Encourage your team to view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. Right? Moving on. What we need to do is we need to foster continuous learning. We have to make learning as an ongoing process. Now, the problem here is that many people think that they are learned, and this word which is used as learned is actually putting an implication that somebody who has learned something and they don't need to learn any longer. No, learning is a continuous process. Not just because the market is dynamic, because our brains have the tendency to forget. Please continuously learn. And even if you're not reading books, you're not reading courses, we are still continuously learning by one client to another. Continuous learning is the key to actually develop continuously. You have to stay informed about the industry trends. Whatever trend is going on in your industry, you have to stay informed about them. Whatever regulatory changes that come, you have to stay informed about them. And without a doubt, the technological advancements have to not just be informed, but you have to learn and adapt and, make the technology your own as soon as possible. Pursuing professional development courses or certifications are one of the best ways to put fresh perspective and add fresh skills to yourself. People who pursue a lot of courses have a lot of degrees to their name. They're not hobbyists of carrying degrees. They cannot, they're really attached to learning. Continuous learning has become not just their hobby, but this is the drug that they've been taking. Right? You have to stay informed about everything and, of course, pursue new courses. First is embracing growth mindset. Second is continuous learning. Of course, the third one we know is encouraging experimentation. You have to create an environment where experimentation is encouraged. You have to allow team members to propose, test, innovate solutions without having a fear of failure. You have to foster a culture of creativity and adaptability. Right? Then, of course, have a leverage. What leverages can a chartered accountant have? The leverages a chartered accountant can have is technology and data. You can use data analytics and technology to gather insights, predict trends, and you'll be able to, if you're able to pivot strategies based on real-time data, this is the hallmark of adaptive thinking, right? Your strategies should be pivotal. You have to keep on changing and adapting. And this is how you can leverage in your organization for your business. Collaboration, of course. Collaboration can also drive the adaptive thinking not dive, but drive, sorry. Collaboration actually drives adaptive thinking because when you collaborate, there are different perspectives, and different perspective is the first key of adaptive thinking. If you collaborate with people from different fields, this will give you even more fresh perspective and ideas. They can be adopted into your accounting strategies. So let's just consider a scenario where something comes up from the client, a new requirement has been placed in. Whosoever as an accountant is practicing adaptive thinking, proactively strategize by, they will strategize by evaluating the impacts. They will see, they will also see continuous dialogue with the client. They will also try to discuss the requirements with their team continuously, and the transition will be carried with clarity and assurance. So this is exactly how the practical application of the entire system is made. Just give me 1 second. All right. I'm going to take you through 4 important outlooks of practical application. All right. First and foremost, or we can say foremost and first, we will talk about the practical application of adaptive thinking in different perspectives in different times. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. Firstly, let's understand how adaptive thinking can help you in different scenarios. Firstly, if there's a technological change, how can adaptive thinking help you around that? Okay, you see, AI is currently in the most trending topic is AI. So, of course, I'm going to talk about AI and automation. The bookkeeping and auditing have been disrupted and, of course, revolutionized, and they will be more and more. We have CAGPT in place. Of course, we know that. The accountants who embrace the adaptive thinking use the technology to automate routine tasks, freeing up valuable time for more strategic activities. So, a firm here in Delhi has integrated AI to handle invoice processing, which has reduced errors and increased efficiency. So their accountants are able to focus on data analysis and provide high value insights to their clients. This is a CA firm's example. So this is how technological change has to be adapted to. There are regulatory shifts. Take, for example, the widespread changes brought by new tax regulations like IFRS, GST. Adaptive accountants promptly reassess their systems and processes, develop strategies, leverage technology to ensure seamless transition. One company I know developed a cross-functional task force to rapidly interpret the change and communicate them effectively within the organization. So this primitive approach not only ensured the compliance, but also identified ways to streamline the taxation process for better efficiency. So probably this is how you respond to regulatory shifts as well. Moving on, not just regulatory shifts, I will also talk about the economic uncertainty. So whenever there is downturns like global challenges, whenever there is, when there was COVID-19, the firms that quickly shifted to remote audits by adopting digital tools like secure document portals and video conferencing was done a lot. Zoom meeting was done a lot. We're in a virtual meeting, which was very crucially identified during the pandemic, of course. And of course, this has been one of the most successful affairs of the entire institution, that we've been doing a lot of webinars these days. So adaptive thinking has allowed these firms to pivot quickly from traditional methods to innovate solutions that ensured resilience. And for making client relations, when sudden cash flow crisis come to a client, an accountant uses adaptive strategies to devise a flexible financial model by introducing staggered payment plans, exploring alternative funding avenues. They elevated immediate pressures while strengthening the client relationship. This pragmatic approach not only solves the problems, but also demonstrates a deep commitment to client success. So you have to just understand that the skills have to be developed to and fro. It has to be in and out. The skills are being developed. So I believe that most of the information that we have communicated has been clear. But I'm going to move on to the last part, which is the benefits of adaptive thinking. Why should you learn adaptive thinking? What is the benefit? Some people are in the advocacy that the benefits of adaptive thinking, the benefits of a certain topic should be told in the beginning. Whereas I prefer that the benefits of anything should be talked about in the end. Why? So that you can actually understand and appreciate that, yes, you think that benefits, because I'm talking to a very prestigious audience, learned audience, if it's the right thing to say, that you guys know that when you've understood a topic, now you're able to comment and accept that, yes, this is in fact, a benefit that this man on the screen is saying. Don't just take my word for it. Firstly, we have to understand that the science behind adaptive thinking is cognitive and behavioral. So there are studies that have, I'm not going to take you through the studies, but there is a huge impact on adaptability on your performance and success. Like, if we can just give me 1 second. So we can just say that with the help of adaptive thinking, we've all discussed, we've understood. Do we agree or not that the continuous learning and the continuous growth will, in addition to the points on the screen, lead to our professional growth or not? Yes or no? I'm so sorry, the handwriting is bad and on the screen it is even worse. No problems. Then, of course, we will talk about client relationships. People who have a thinking which adapts to the changing needs leads to professional growth. And the client relationships are improved because you don't just, take challenges and you start messing around with the challenges. You actually, you solve the problem and you're able to adapt to the problem and you're giving solutions. So your clients definitely have better relations with you. The team collaboration is enhanced. Of course, the organizational success, which is of course one of the keys, Your team will have better collaboration because you have a strategic thinking or adaptive thinking. You adapt to differences. So when many people have that strategic thinking or adaptive one, they have a better collaboration because they understand each other's importance in their professional journey. The success of the organization is definitely improved. All right. And there are long-term advantages of adaptive thinking too. We can always and always understand that we have definitely discussed in detail. But then I will just ask you to just give me some time and focus to me on the screen and imagine, because this is important in how we can actually, understand this activity. I do not have you in front of me, and I really want you to at least do this activity in imagination. You can just imagine a client who's facing financial distress due to a sudden market change, maybe a report from the American short seller. You can use your adaptive thinking to guide them through this challenge. How will you communicate? What solutions will you offer? I'm not saying just do it right now. In imaginations, you know the scenario, but I'm asking you that you can do this role play with one of your friends or colleagues in your office. You can do this exercise today, and you can just continue and discuss. However, we have to understand that. All right. Right, I think I was just looking through the chat box and I think I have a question. Why new things come to cost aspect? Well, when new initiatives and technologies or processes are introduced, they often come with cost implications. There are several reasons for that, of course. Whenever there's something new which will come in, there will be a cost for research and development. The R&D cost, creating and implementing new solutions will require cost for market analysis, prototype development and testing. And of course, the implementation and integration will be the part of this. New systems or processes often require integration with existing structures, which can, of course, incur cost in relation to IT support, consultations, or any additional sources to ensure seamless transitions. Whenever there's something new, the cost comes in for they may need training, the employees need training and change management to use new tools or adapt to new processes. This involves the cost of training programs, but also potential loss. There's a potential loss productivity as new employees are learning new skills. So there's a lot of loss of productivity. The infrastructure development costs a lot because new technologies might necessitate upgrades to existing hardware or software. So there's another cost. There's maintenance and support required. Ongoing maintenance and support are necessary for new systems. They often require additional resources and specialist support at times, right? And finally, there's a cost of risk mitigation. Implementing something new often carries risk. Companies may invest in additional oversight for contingency plans, maybe to mitigate the risk or any association of change. So these are the cost aspects, while often significant, should be weighed against. You should weigh against the potential benefits and the efficiencies gained from the innovation. And the analysis is called return on investment. This is a very, very good earning and learning opportunity for chartered accountants. We can always go into ROI, analysis, and of course, this can help the business to determine whether the short-term costs are justified by the long-term gains, right? This is how we exactly take the approach. You can have other questions if you have any. All right. Just a second. I'm sorry, I didn't close but it was just a problem that I was facing. It was some lightning issue that I had. I'm so sorry. I had to get up and correct that. I had nobody to, make that. The light was coming straight into my eye. I'm so sorry. Yes, we're moving on. So there are different cost implications when this comes in. So the question which was asked to me, I was just answering, and I think I was able to answer that question. That when new things come in, there is a cost aspect, and a lot of cost has to be considered. And then let's move on to the benefits. Let's move on back to the adaptive thinking exercise. I would like to take you along to the example of a company. I don't have that on the slide, but you will definitely love this example if you listen to me carefully. I know this because I was very close to this example. I really read a lot about this, and I was very closely related to this example. HCL Technologies in 2008. If you read the case study, so in 2008, HCL Technologies was one of the companies who did not fire in the recession, who did not do the firing exercise. Why? What they did is they had a process of 7 or 8 hours of a shift. 7 or maybe 8 hour was the shift timing. They increased the shift timing to 9 hours, and they requested their employees to work an extra hour for them so that they don't have to fire anybody. Everybody collaborated. So I don't know who devised this trick, an extra hour of work and a similar pay. So everybody is being paid just because they work 1 extra hour every day. And this was one of the most crucial thinking somebody would have actually adapted to the problem and the change, and how they came up with this strategy. Well, I think there's another question. Should we consider cost benefit analysis while adapting new things? Sir, I already said, as chartered accountants, this is a very good business opportunity for us. ROI analysis of change. If we have adaptive thinking and we can do the ROI analysis, we should sell this as a service. This is not a free advice we have to give to the client. This is a service. We can do the ROI analysis of new technology, new additions, whatever you want to do. This is one of the best things you can do. Nothing in particular, but yes, this is, of course, the cost has to be considered. I already told you the cost has to be weighed against the long-term benefits of the same. So the short-term cost and the long-term benefit. So the cost that you're incurring in short term should be complementing the benefit in long term. Okay, short-term cost should complement and be good enough that there's a long-term benefit of it. All right. This is exactly how we consider. Moving on. So with the HCL Technologies example, what happened is 9 hours of shift was producing, what was it producing? Additional revenue for the company. And with the additional revenue, the company was able to pay off the 100% of the workforce. So they did not have to fire. Maybe they did not fire, or they fired the least employees. I was very young at that time, but I read this example long time ago. And this was one of the best examples I found for adaptive thinking. They came up with a solution, they collaborated, and they were able to, develop it. Do we have any more questions? The tech support team, if they have any questions, they can put in the chat box. Because I think we are almost done here, but we are keeping some time for the questions. I think that's exactly what I've left a few minutes for. Do you have any questions? Just put it in the chat box. Moving on. All right. Let's understand and revisit the entire session then. We will just, start and we will end, and we will revise the entire session what we have had today. And of course, let's start. We already talked about, we understood after this session. I am sure you understand adaptive skills. It's a cognitive skill. This adjusts the thoughts and approaches and actions in response to the new information, changing situations, or unexpected challenges. We need flexibility, creativity, and of course, resilience. These are 3 things for adaptive thinking. Then we, of course, talked about ambiguity embracing, why you should embrace it, what is ambiguity, how it has been helping in exercise of judgment and intuition, what all traits and strategies you have to use to embrace ambiguity. Then we talked about innovation and creativity. Of course, what is the role of it and how we encourage creative problem solving, innovative financial solutions, how to integrate it with technology. Then we talked about flexibility in communication, how to adapt to different communication styles. We gave you some tips for effective communications. I hope you remember them. Then we talked about handling difficult conversation and of course, real world contexts. We integrated adaptive thinking into practice by developing the thinking skills. We embedded changes. We gave you tools and resources. And I hope you liked the case study which we had discussed. After that, benefits of adaptive thinking have been discussed. And I think this will certainly bring us to the end of my presentation today. And if there's any questions, I would like to open the house for questions. All right. If there's any questions, I think you can start putting in, or the event enablers can help me to, help me give me the questions so I can start answering any questions that we have in particular. Do we have any questions, Ajit ji? Hello. There's a question in the chat box. I think I have to take this there. Systems thinking and adaptive thinking is similar. No. I think it's two different topics that we're talking about. I think this is a good opportunity for Sambit ji. You can also organize a session on this topic. This is a different topic, systems thinking. Actually, system thinking is a holistic approach that focuses on understanding complex interrelationships and dynamic with systems. This could be anything from ecological systems, organization, cultures, and everything like that. The focus of both of them is different. Like in the adaptive thinking, we are talking about the ability to change the thought process, not the focus and holistic approach. We have to strategize to respond to new information here and unexpected changes, of course. This is about being flexible, and that is about a holistic approach. System thinking of focus, the focus of system thinking is on recognizing of patterns and feedbacks, loops, and everything. However, in adaptive thinking, the emphasis on agility and innovative thinking and creativity to adjust with changing circumstances. You have to solve complex problems. You need system thinking. You have to, be relevant in the environment of change, rapid changes. Of course, you need adaptive thinking. So both will need a level of flexibility and openness to change. However, both approaches are essential in a complex and dynamic environment, but they are different things and they're not the same thing. So of course, you can have a case studies like HCL. I would just show you the case study. Just give me 1 second. I think I have that case study. I'll put it on my screen so you can right. Just give me 1 second. Just a moment, I'm going to download and I'm going to, if you want, I think I can share it with Sambitji and Sambitji can share it with all of you. Just sharing that screen with you. Just a second. Is my screen visible? If I can have a thumbs up from Ajit ji or Rahul ji. Can I have a thumbs up? Okay, you can see my screen right now. The change screen shows you the Indian Oil case study, and I have written this. We've had this case study written with us. It's an Indian Oil Corporation case study. So how the bank, when the there was bankruptcy, there was a lot of protests in the different countries, and how Indian Oil helped and strategically changed courses. This is a very famous case study. So if you want to go through the case study, I will definitely love to share this with you. And moving on, just give me 1 second. Let me just bring you back to my screen. All right, I have a few other questions. So this is a case study which I can recommend, and other recommendations can be shared. I'll keep on sharing it. I'll try to share it on my social media. You can just follow me there, and I'll definitely put in some case studies by the end of today. So your daughter is a CA working with some CA firm. She got admitted to HEC Paris. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at this general knowledge names. HEC is some sort of an educational institute or something, Ajit ji? HEC Paris. Is it some educational institution or something?
I
All
think so,
right.
sir.
She has audit experience. Now she wants to switch strategic in HEC Paris. Will it be good? This is one thing I want to do in detail, and I hope the event enablers will give me like 2 or 3 minutes to tell that to you all. Sir, madams, everybody in the audience, please learn one thing today. If you want to learn something good, and you think everything is in less perspective, put this in the biggest perspective. Please you're allowed to ask for advice. You can ask for advice, but never ask for decisions. And unfortunately, we always ask for decisions and we never ask for advice. What is advice? That what are the good and bad part of certain things? Like what is the good parts of auditing? What is the good part of strategic in HEC, whatever it is? However, I can tell you that, okay, this is the benefit, this is the disadvantage of the two. You'll come up with the advantages and disadvantages, and then I can take a decision for you. Sir, I'm really scared to take decisions for anybody else because it will be affecting your life and not mine. And if I have to create a few credit scores for myself, I'll quickly say, okay, do this. This is good for you. This is bad for you. That's the easiest thing to do. Right, Ajit ji? That's easiest
Yes,
to say, okay, bad strategy, good. Make that change. No, don't make that change. Not good for you. What will happen with me, what Ajit ji or Anuj ji, we are not being bothered by that because you are your daughter and you are the ones who are affected with it. So I can obviously, if you want me to study and research on this strategic in HEC Paris, I can help you and I can sit with you and learn that. But I can only give you the facts and not the decision whether it's good or bad. Good or bad is your decision because it is for you. How can we make this understand to our admin team who want to change, who do not want to change or carry a fixed mind? Sir, how to make them understand is you talk to them or you hire a good speaker, pay them their fees and they'll make your staff understand. That's a good choice that you can take. It's a learning exercise, sir. This webinar will be available on ICI TV. You can of course put it on the screen on your in your organization, and as ICI we are happy to support all the firms and organizations with our chartered accountants. Please put this on the screen, and if this is helpful, enough, good. Otherwise, have a physical seminar on adaptive thinking. This is one of the key seminars that are being done in corporates these days. So it's not so bad to have it's not done in this way, webinar. It's normally a workshop exercise, because if we were in a workshop, we'll be doing a lot of activities, because of course, activities help you develop new skills and enjoy those skill learning. This is a theoretical portion which we've done today. Okay. Sir, we have seen many leaders who have excellency in handling business using adaptive thinking, but in personal life, why they are not using the same approach? That is their choice. I cannot say anything why they're not using this approach in their personal life. Look, I'll tell you one thing. I always lived in a single bed. I used to have sleep on a single bed. And I've never shared my living space with anybody, right? I'm very adaptive in terms of thinking. But when I go home today, the biggest problem that I had, and it took me 2 years of my marriage to tell my wife what the problem was, why I was not able to sleep in the night, because it was very difficult for me to adjust my sleeping space. Because I have never been, I've never been comfortable. No brothers or sisters ever slept with me. I've always been in the same side, and I can roll over anywhere. So this is a different thing, sir. We as professionals do a lot of adaptive thinking, strategic thinking in the professional world. And in my home, we are two chartered accountants. My wife is also a CA, so we both come with a lot of stress of work. And sometimes in personal life, we don't want to be very professional. We want to be kiddish. We want to do something stupid every day when we go home. It's okay, sir. People who are doing a lot in work, they're not trying to show themselves up in the business. That is why many successful people still live under the guardianship of their parents. Many successful people give the handover of their household to their maybe their wives, or maybe even the kids in this household start taking household decisions, because this is exactly how working hard and then going home and being a kid, I think that's the most fun part of life, is what I can say. So that may be the case, but if it is some problem that you're facing with somebody, I am not the right person to advise on them. That's going to be a counselor or a therapist. I'm not the right person for that. Now, let's understand the next question is, innovation is a tool of agility. But how to convince the board to adapt to new technologies, since they are obsessed to confidentiality? Sir, being obsessed to confidentiality is good. We all are obsessed with confidentiality, right? It is one of the ethical principles of ICAI, and we stand strong on confidentiality, integrity, objectivity. Similarly, confidentiality is one of the ethical principles of ICAI. Why are we not obsessed? But adapting to new technology has nothing to do with confidentiality. I'll give you an example for that as well. There's a software which is used in a lot of companies. I'm not going to name the software. I'm not going to name the company. It is one of the leading technology companies of the world. And they are not ready to give a clearance of audit trail. Many of us know that audit trail is one of the most important looked out for, sought for characteristics of the accounting softwares going forward. So they're not giving that clearance. What do we do as auditors? Auditors will not give that clearance. If the business or the corporate is not ready to accept that this software can only be used when you have the clearance that it has the audit trail function and no amendments can be made, or that the X company will not make amendments even when required to, you cannot say that it has audit trail. You cannot say that it has the compliance to our law and regulation. You can just say what you can do and not. The confidentiality obsession, I think that is a very specific case. We can definitely discuss that in personal time someday. But right now, I would say agility, yes, confidentiality has to be maintained even with the most flexible and adaptive thinking. I think that's it for the questions. It gives me immense pleasure to thank the chairman, CA Dr. Anuj Goel, the secretary, Dr. Sambit Kumar Mishra, and my fellows and my very learned friends from Gwalior, CA Ajit Bansalji, chairman, CA Rahul Mittalji, and CA Sachin Guptaji. I would really love to hand the session back over to CA Rahulji or Ajitji, whosoever will take the charge from here. Thank you very much. That was it from me. That was my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Nakulji. I think all the queries have been solved, and it's the time to vote of thanks. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful webcast on adaptive thinking for accountants, navigating uncertainty and changes, organized by Professional Skills Enrichment Committee ICI. On behalf of Professional Skill Enrichment Committee ICI, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, CA Nakul Arora, for his enlightening session, and CA Anuj Goel ji, Chairman Professional Skill Enrichment Committee and ICI. Also for CA Sipriya Kumar, Vice Chairperson, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee ICI, for their active guidance. Sincere thanks to Event Enabler from the Gwalior branch CIRC of ICI, who enabled the webcast throughout. A wide round of applause and thanks to the organizer, Professional Skill Enrichment Committee ICI, our today's speaker CA Nakul Arora ji, and other stakeholders made the webcast a memorable one. Finally, we would like to thank all of you present here and helping us make this webcast a grand success. Thank you everyone. Thank you sir. Thank you Nakul ji. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका.
Thank you, everyone.
we'll be talking about Ashokji. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.